doing, guys? Welcome to Friday, another Friday Waffle, the first in a wee while. Now you can, I don't know if you can tell by the video, but I'm conscious of the lack of light in this room. I read on the internet today that apparently today is the warmest Halloween on record. So yeah, anyway, but it's still, although it's not warm, although it's not very cold, it's still hugely dull. And this room of mine is always very, very dull, so I've managed to dig out a little light thing which is actually dazzling me. Don't know if it's going to make any difference to this video at all. I mean, I'm filming this and it's during the day, so it should be light, but I'll see how it looks. So anyway, I thought, given it's Halloween, I shall wear my new t-shirt, which I got from, where was it again? I got it from Universal Studios, my Halloween t-shirt. Right, again, this waffle, guys, as is the same with every waffle, it's pretty much been made up on the spot, and I'm probably going to just make it up as I go along. So whether it turns out shite or not, we'll just have to wait and see. But I have written a list of a few bits and pieces. Right, first things first, like I normally start off, what have I been up to gaming wise? Well, as anybody that watches this channel knows, I've been on holiday. I was on holiday for 2 weeks. I got back to the UK last Saturday, so tomorrow will be a week that I've been back. So obviously for these 2 weeks, gaming was pretty much sort of non-existent. However, that's not entirely true. Well, in fact, there's a couple of things that I want to kind of touch on based on talking about the holiday. One thing that I was planning to do when I went to Florida, or what I was hoping to do, was maybe pick up some cheap video games. Now I know some of the consoles aren't backwards compatible, but one of them, which is, I think, is the Nintendo 3DS. So I thought I would try and pick up some cheap games. I don't know how game prices compare in the States. I'm assuming they're cheaper because everything across in the States seems to be cheaper than the UK. So I went across there thinking I'll pick up a couple of cheap games, even if they're second hand, whatever. But I was a bit disappointed to report where we were. If anybody's been to Florida, and more specifically kind of Orlando, we were on a road called International Drive. We're right across the road from a massive shopping sort of complex, and they seem to have every kind of shop apart from video game shops. There was none at all, couldn't see any. Even in some of the sort of larger department stores, I mean, there was no like Walmart or anything like that where we were. But even some of the big sort of department stores, they sold toys, they sold sports equipment. Didn't see a single video game on sale in the States. So I was a bit surprised and a wee bit disappointed, if I'm honest. You know, I mean, as people keep telling you on this internet thing, video gaming is bigger than the film industry. It is that big. It's probably the biggest, I'm guessing, commercial sort of industry there is. You know, out with property, houses and that kind of stuff. It's a massive, massive industry. Hugely popular, you know, which you can probably tell when you look at YouTube. So quite why there are no game shops, or not there's no game shops, but quite why there's a lack of game shops even in the UK as well. I don't understand that at all. I mean, I even googled Game, who I believe are an American company. I googled Game on Google Maps, and there was no game store within, I don't know, a 100-mile radius. Maybe I was looking in the wrong places, I don't know, but bit surprising. But anyway, so that's one bit. Now, I did say I haven't been playing any video games. Now that's not entirely true, because the flight to Orlando takes 8 hours. In fact, I lie, it was supposed to be 8 hours, but I think in reality it actually turned out to be about 6.5. It was actually quicker coming back. 6.5, 7 hours sort of thing. But anyway, it's a long time to be sat in a plane, and they were showing the usual shit films with the real absolutely crap headphones. So I thought, I'm not going to waste my time with these. So how can I get my gaming fix when I'm 37,000 feet up in the air, travelling at whatever it is, 400 miles an hour, don't know, might be talking shite. So I thought, what can I take along? Did I take my PSP? Did I take my PS Vita? Did I take my smartphone? Got games in it. I thought, bollocks to that, I'll take this. Now, I have made a look at this thing. It's a Pandora console. I'm not going to show you it just now. I think I'm going to, I have made a video review of this thing, but I'm going to do another one because this is a serious piece of kit. Basically, this thing emulates everything. It emulates every retro system under the sun, and it's absolutely brilliant at it. So when I was on the plane, I was playing, what was I playing? I was playing Alien Breed, I was playing Destruction Derby, I was playing multiple SNES games, C64, Spectrum, Amstrad, a whole plethora of games. It's an awesome piece of kit. So yeah, that was my kind of video gaming when I was out in the States. I played it a wee bit when I was there, but obviously we had other things to do kind of thing. But for sitting in an airport lounge, waiting on your plane, or sitting on a plane itself on your flight, it's an absolute superb piece of kit. They're getting quite hard to come by now, I think, and I was going to say they're overpriced. Well, what defines the word overpriced? If something satisfies, if you pay a certain amount of money for something and you derive a huge amount of satisfaction, then is it overpriced? I don't know. I don't think so. Probably what people tend to do with things like the Pandora, they look at the spec and they say that's 10-year-old spec in computer terms. That's vastly overpriced. But ultimately, in my mind, it's the best. It does the job better than anything else out there at the moment. So yeah, it is quite expensive. But anyway, I'm not going to go any more about I'm not going to go on any more about the Pandora because I want to do another specific video, which I shall do next week, I think. Pardon me. So that was that. Yeah, so that's the games this week. I've been trying to catch up on a bit of what do you call it? A bit of making videos, as you've probably seen. I've managed to knock a couple out. So I've actually quite enjoyed getting back into it again. It's helped to kind of keep my mind active and, you know, strain from any negative thoughts about the job front. Which, just to touch on very quickly, guys, I had my interview on Wednesday. I think the interview went very well. I applied for 2 jobs, one of which I don't think I've got a cat and hell's chance of getting it. I really don't. If I get a phone call, I would fall off my seat. I really don't think I'm going to get it, and I'm not too bothered. It's a more senior role. There's another job which I've also been considered for, which is less senior sort of thing, probably obviously less money as well. But to be honest with you, I would probably rather get the second job, even though it's less money. It's probably more what I'm good at, and it's probably the kind of thing that I would enjoy more. So they told us they were going to let us know today, to let the successful candidates know today about the first job that we've went for. Now so far I don't know what time it is, it's about 2:30 or something. I've not heard anything, so I don't think I've got that one. I didn't expect to get it. I went for it because I wanted to at least be seen to be trying to you know, improve myself. But fingers crossed, just need to wait and see. But yeah, so I had an interview. The interview, I gave it my best shot. I think it went fairly well, but it's really hard to gauge these things. It's really hard to know just where you stand with things. But I think, like a lot of companies nowadays, they tend to have somebody in mind for jobs, but they've obviously got to be seen to be given interviews. So I think that's probably the case with this. So anyway, I'll keep you guys up to date with how the job thing goes anyway. So yeah, that was that. So so that was that. Obviously the job thing's been occupying a fair bit of time. I saw Billy Connolly last Sunday, which I think I mentioned already. Saw him at Clyde Auditorium, brilliant. I could start telling you some of his jokes, but I'm not going to, because I'd be here all day and I can't tell him like Billy can tell him anyway. So listen, I'm going to pause this, guys, before it tells me that I've exceeded 2 gig of space. Back in a sec. Okay, so what was I talking about? This week, gaming wise, I've not played any sort of current gen. I've made an Arcade Perfect My Arse video, which I'm not going to tell you what it is at the moment. So I've been playing quite a lot of the same game. Quite enjoyed that, actually. In fact, it's a game that I never I never took to. I never really had any interest in playing it. But we doing this feature, the Arcade Perfect My Arse feature. I realise it's actually quite a spanking game, so I'm intending to actually start playing it. I've not played the MAME cab. I've not really been playing any other games. One thing I have been doing this week, and even in fact the day I was due to fly back from America, waiting in the departure lounge on Netflix, I watched The Walking Dead, first episode of The Walking Dead. Now I did watch the first series about 3 years ago. I was intending to watch the second series and I never got around to it, and then I just kind of lost interest. But we've been out in the States, they're massively into their Halloween, and so you were constantly exposed to zombies and all this kind of stuff when I was in America. So I thought I'm going to start watching The Walking Dead. So I've been watching that one episode every night and it's brilliant. I mean, if anybody, I'd be very surprised if anybody watching this video hasn't seen it. I'm not big in horror films, but it's not like really, you know, seat your pants, shitting yourself scared. It's not like any of these stupid paranormal bloody activity nonsense things. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant, brilliant, what do you call it, TV programme. So if you haven't seen it, I do suggest you start watching it. So yeah, I've been watching Walking Dead, not playing many video games, not been doing any bead art obviously. So yeah, I think that's it. That's what I have been up to the last couple of weeks. Right, first one's first. Right, this is actually a video response. I was going to make a separate video, but I thought, nah, I'm just going to go over the top with making videos if I do that. So this is a video response. Steve Benway posted a video. I think Lawn Boys Post 1975 also posted it. It's doing the rounds on YouTube at the moment, and it's probably quite appropriate for this time of year, or particular today. It's Do You Believe in Ghosts? Now, I would say, you know, I was going to say no, but there's a bit of me. I'm going to talk about a few things and then give you if I believe in ghosts or not. I was never a believer or a non-believer in ghosts. You know, I would like to think that we possibly do. There's an afterlife when we pass on type thing. But anyway, I'm going to cut to the chase, guys. I can speak. I've got 3 personal sort of tales to tell, and I'll let you guys make up your own mind. Now, anybody that watches my channels, you're probably starting to get to know me. I'm a straight up and down guy. I don't bullshit. I'd never lie or make things up for the sake of publicity or anything like that. So I'm going to tell you it straight off as it happened. My grandfather passed away 1985, I think it was. Now, 2 years later, my auntie, which is my dad's sister, my auntie, obviously it was her father that passed away. Now my granddad was a wonderful man. He was a lovely, lovely man. Now when my auntie about 2 years later had a little boy who's now, I don't know what it is, he's 25 or something, but she had a little boy. I'm not going to tell you his name because it's irrelevant. But she had a little boy, and then the little boy, he was about 1 year old, I think it was. It was about a year later sort of thing. And one night, my auntie and her husband were in bed, and the little boy was in his nursery, in his bed, and they had one of these, what do you call it, baby intercom things. And my auntie suddenly woke up, and she could hear, it's like voices, something talking on the intercom. So of course, naturally she was quite afraid. She thought somebody's in the little boy's bedroom. So she woke her husband up. He heard it as well, sort of whispering and noises, kind of screeching, and then noises like sort of somebody kind of whispering, talking. So he got up, went through to the bedroom, and according to my auntie, as soon as he opened the door, the noises stopped, and of course the little boy was still fast asleep. So that was that. You can make your own mind up. You could say it was static, it was interference from a police car, whatever, CB radio type thing, could possibly have been that. But that's exactly what happened. Then, shortly after that, their TV started to turn on. They would be in the room, the TV would just switch on, you know, with nobody touching it, you'd switch it off. And this went on for a while. The TV would sometimes go on, it would sometimes come off. Again, I mean, this all happened in a very short space of time. Again, you could say, well, it was a fault with the TV, possibly. You know, I mean, some people have said when somebody dies, the living tend to look for things. You know, it's like the old Peter Kay joke. When somebody dies at somebody's funeral, they go, "Oh my God, look, there's a prawn and cocktail crisp bag. Oh, he loved that. It must have been an omen." You know, seeing that a crisp packet, and that's just coincidence. So you could say that about this as well. But I said, this is what happened to my auntie, and she's like myself, straight up and down, wouldn't make these things up. So again, yeah, the TV thing, on and off, on and off. It got to the point where my auntie was getting actually quite frightened by these things. I think doors were moving. There was numerous things happening, and she was getting quite upset about it, as you would. I mean, I couldn't imagine it being particularly pleasant having things like that sort of happen. So she went into her living room, and she's got on her living room wall, she's got all these different photographs of her mum or dad, and you know, kids and that kind of stuff. And she was looking at the picture of my granddad, and she said, "Look, Dad, I know it's you. Please, please, please." That's my little girl banging. Please, 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 please stop this. I know you want to see your grandson, but you need to please stop doing what you're doing because you're frightening us. Please stop doing the things with the TV and things like that. And at that point, the picture of my grandfather fell on the floor. So you can make your mind up about that, guys. Right, I'm going to pause for a second. Right, sorry, it was my daughter interrupting me there. So yeah, that was, all these events happened over a 2-3 week period, and after that event with the picture falling, nothing else ever happened again. Now, from a personal experience, I can, my mum sadly passed away in 1998, June 1998. Miss her dearly, I really do, don't mind admitting that. But she passed away. She had cancer and she was in the hospice, and we got told to go in and see her because they reckoned that she didn't have very long to go. So myself, my two sisters, my dad, and my auntie, we all went in to see her, and we were all sitting round their bed. We sat around their bed from, I don't know what time it was the middle of the night, and throughout the hours that we were with her, I noticed she was on oxygen, and I noticed the oxygen every now and again had a sort of monitor, and eventually you could see like the oxygen levels, it was getting empty. So twice when I was there in the same period, I said to the nurse, "My mum's oxygen's about to run out." She said, "Oh, that's fine, thanks for telling me." So the nurse swapped out the oxygen tank, gave my mum more oxygen. So this went on a couple of times throughout the night. I alerted the nurse to the oxygen levels, sort of thing. So that was that. We left about 9 in the morning, and sadly my mum passed away a couple of hours later. So she passed away, it was the Wednesday morning, about, I don't know what time it was, 10 o'clock or something. So that was the Wednesday morning she passed away. On the Wednesday night, I was in bed with my then wife, and she woke me up, and she goes, Alan, there's a funny noise." So of course I immediately woke up and I sat up, and all I could hear was what sounded like the noise of rushing water. And I was like, what on earth's that? So of course I got up out of my bed, went downstairs, checked the bathroom, checked the toilet, these things, nothing. Couldn't figure out what it was, and it was really loud. So then I realised to myself, this is coming from outside. Pardon me. So I went outside, and then I traced the noise. My next door neighbour, I was in a sort of semi-detached little 2-up, or little end terrace house. I noticed the noise was coming from my next door neighbour's van. So I chaps on the door, and of course he comes to the door. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. What's going on? I says, "Bob," I says, "I think you've got a leak in your car." So Bob came downstairs, Now Bob was a welder, and he had welding kit in the back of his, he had one of these pickups with the big tanks. And he came out, he had his pyjamas on, he came out and he went, "How the fuck's that?" "What's that?" He says, "That oxygen tank's fucking on." He says, "It was fine earlier on." So when he said the word oxygen, I'm like, woof, I just sort of turned cold. I'm like, oh. So I said, "Look," I says, "Bob," I says, can I tell you?" I says, I told him about my mum passing away, I says, and I told him about the oxygen. And he went, "Well, Alan," he says, "I can tell you this." He says, "I have done this job for like 20 years. He says, "That is it's a brand new tank of oxygen which I picked up yesterday." He says, "It was fine when I left it." And he says, to actually open a tank of oxygen, you need a key, a big sort of spanner thing, and you need an awful lot of strength. He says, how that has turned itself on, I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. So, yeah, again, coincidence? I don't know. I mean, I said to him, could it not have been some arsehole coming back for the pub switching it on? But he says, nah, he says, you need the key. And of course, he got into the van and he got this big key and he went, and he just shut it. You know, it's not one that you could turn by hand for obvious reasons, for sort of health and safety. So yeah, there was that one. There's two more relating to my mum. About 2-3 months after my mum passed away, my wife, she just said that I need to speak to you. She says, what is it? Is everything okay? She says, yeah, I need to tell you something. So she sat me down, and about a month before, there was a strippers night. It was a sort of hen do type thing. My wife, my two sisters. It was in a rugby club in Livingston. It was like there was a couple of strippers doing whatever it is that strippers do, and it was in this rugby club that we used to. My mum and dad went to for years and years and years. Virtually all their life, they used to go to this rugby club. And my wife told me that she was sitting in the crowd, you know, watching these strippers, and she said she'd had like one glass of wine. She wasn't drunk or anything, and she said everybody was always like, getting quite excited, you know, watching the show type thing. And she said something caught my eye to the right hand side, and she turned round and she said, your mum was standing there with her blue dress. She used to have this blue dress which she enjoyed to wear, and she had white pearls. She says your mum was standing about 10 feet back at the back of the room, looking across at your sisters, you know, my mum's kids, with this big smile on her face. My mum was, I know everybody says this about their parents, but my mum was, she was a lovely, lovely person. She was one of these people, we used to slag her off because she would laugh at everything. You know, she never said a bad word about anybody. She was always laughing, even when things weren't funny. She would have this wee nervous laugh. So she was always smiling. You never saw her with a kind of scowl on her face. And my wife said she was standing there, clear as day, looking across, smiling. And she said she turned round and said her own mum was there, and she said to her own mum, can you see Olive? That's my mum's name. And our mum turned round and looked, nah, can't see her. And then when my wife turned round again, my mum was away. She said she was there for maybe 30 seconds, and when she turned away and looked back, she was gone. Now she said that everybody was sat looking at this show thing, and across in the corner, the rugby club it's not a big place, it's not a big place. But she said it wasn't someone else, it was my mum. And when I asked her why didn't she tell me about it beforehand, she says because I didn't think you'd believe me. Now my wife and I are no longer together, obviously. I mean, I've been with my wife Tracy for quite a long time, 13 years whatever. But yeah, I had no reason to dispute what she was telling me. So yep, that's that one. And the very last one, again you could just see it's coincidence. It was maybe a few months after my mum had passed away. I used to go down to my dad's house and we used to sit and talk about my mum. Just sit and reminisce, you know, because you know talking about people helps to keep them alive, keep the spirit alive. And it was one night and it was getting quite late. Always these things always seem to happen at night time. it was getting quite late, and my dad and I were sitting around the kitchen table, and my dad was saying, you know, he says, "Oh, you know what, Alan?" He says, I sometimes just, you know, I'll be lying in bed, and I'll say to her, "Olive, please, 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 just give me a sign, give me a little sign that you're okay, that you're still here," sort of thing. And he says, "Nothing happens, nothing happens." And he says, "You know what, Alan?" He says, I just wish, he says, something, just a little sign would happen to, just so that your mum, I know that your mum's okay." And I swear on my daughter's life, guys, at that split second, his phone just went, it rang once for about 3 seconds, and the pair of us literally jumped out our seat. We got the fright of our life. When he looked at the phone, no missed call, no text message, nothing. The phone rang, it didn't ring and ring, it just made it, and then it just, that was it. 2 seconds, no missed call, nothing. Again, call it coincidence, call it your own mind making things happen. That's possible that has happened. So yeah, there's been a few other things, guys, that I could go into details about, but I'm not going to. I mean, I've given you the sort of the ones to me that are most kind of important to me. Now, do I believe in ghosts or not? I do believe. I mean, quite a few guys have said it's science. People were all. I mean, Lawn Boys post 1975. Dave did say that we're just slabs of meat, but there's energy inside us that makes us what we are. It makes us alive. It keeps us moving. It makes one person a murderer, one person, you know, I don't know, a nurse. We're all different. When we die, we just become, it's just the shell that's left. But science has proven that energy cannot be destroyed. So when somebody dies, that energy, be it the spirit, be it the energy, the lifeblood that goes through us, has to go somewhere. Now, so yeah, that has to go somewhere. But I am a firm believer that when somebody close to you dies, when somebody dies, they have got a small window of opportunity to somehow influence something in our world, almost as a way of, "I'm okay, son." And that's exactly what I took from my wife seeing my mum, the phone making the noise, the oxygen. I am convinced that is somebody who's just passed on. They've got this very, very small window of opportunity, if you want, if that's the right word to use, where they can just influence something to say, "Look, guys, I'm fine. Stop mourning me. Get on with your life. I'm happy now." And then once they move to the other side, that's it. Now, my dad and I used to talk at great length about my mum, and if only she could give us some sign. And we used to talk about that all the time. Now, my dad, sadly, I lost my dad a year, it was January 13, and I can honestly say there has never been anything that's happened. I've not had anything at all happened that I could say, "That's my dad," nothing at all. The only thing I do get on occasions, and again, there's probably a completely rational reason, and Dave said, excuse me a second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, what was I talking about? I honestly believe that there's a window of opportunity for a deceased person to sort of, you know, not appear or whatever, but just to give the living, somebody close to them, a little thumbs up to say, "I'm alright, crack on." But yeah, so talking about my dad, I've not had anything. There's never been anything. I mean, I've spoke to my dad, you know, and I've not had anything. Yeah, I forgot what I was talking about. Dave, Lawn Boys post 1975, mentioned about the guy. Apparently there's a guy in his house who used to own the house, and he smoked a pipe, and every now and again you can smell pipe smoke. Well, every now and again, my dad was a pipe smoker again, and every now and again, it's usually if I'm in the car, just every now and again you'll just get this whiff, and immediately I'll think, "Hiya, Dad," and you know, I think my dad's here. And then that's it, you know, nothing. I mean, I'm certainly not frightened of anything, because I don't think my granny's sister, my great auntie, lovely person, she always used to tell me as a kid that there's nothing to be frightened about from ghosts. He says, because if somebody wouldn't harm you when they're alive, they're certainly not going to frighten you or harm you when they're dead, and that's absolutely true, and that's been my feeling all along. So yeah, do I believe in ghosts? Yes, to a point. I don't believe in the apparitions you see, you know, that you see in some of these YouTube videos. I don't really believe in that, but I do believe that there is a sense of being able to influence the real world for a very short space of time. Then once I've moved across, that's it. But I'll tell you one thing, guys. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of the probably older YouTubers in the sort of retro channel. A lot of people, my wife included, will poo-poo ghost stories and things like that. Now, she's still got a mum and dad. They're still both alive. See, when you lose people close to you, that's when you want to believe that there's something. You want to believe that when you eventually pass on, you're going to be reunited with your mum, your dad, your granny, your wife, whatever. And I like to think, especially now with this job crap that I'm going through just now, you know, I like to think that my mum and dad are still here, watching over me, giving me support. I take a bit of comfort from that. I'm not a God believer. I'm a bit of an atheist, to be honest. But yeah, I do believe. I like to think my mum and dad are still here, watching over me, watching over my family. So yeah, that's the ghost story. Right, what else? Pandora console, done that. Right, I'm conscious I'm rabbiting on quite a lot. Quickly, Bedroom to Billions. It eventually came out digitally, so I watched it. I actually watched that when I was in America. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I mean, it wasn't interviews as such, it's just the people talking, and it was interesting. I think I maybe spoiled it for myself slightly, because I watched, they kept putting out like teaser videos, so there's quite a bit of content that you could actually watch before the film came out. So I had seen quite a lot of the stuff already, which I was a wee bit disappointed in. I should have really not watched any of it. I mean, I paid 40 quid, I ended up paying another 20 quid to get the extras, the 2.5 hour extras. So I've actually seen the film plus the 2.5 hours of extras. I'm still waiting to get the actual DVD, but I don't see myself ever watching it again because I've got it digitally. But yeah, it was good. It was interesting. There was some. It was good to see some footage of things like, I don't know, you know, kids shopping for games and John Menzies and that kind of stuff. I'd love to know where that kind of footage comes from, because, you know, I've checked on YouTube over the years for stuff like that. So yeah, and a lot of it was really good quality. So yeah, a lot of good archive material. Wee bit disappointed they didn't touch too much. Good AC/DC reference there. That they didn't touch too much on 16-bit. I suppose by that point, 16-bit games, the industry had moved away from the bedroom coder to, you know, corporate companies employing 10 artists and 3 or 4, you know, sound guys and multiple programmers. So maybe that was the reason it wasn't really featured. But it'd be nice to have seen more stuff about the Amiga. I mean, they did touch on Shadow of the Beast, Psygnosis. I can't remember what the guy's name is again, but no, it was good. It was good. I tend to agree with some people. It was possibly, the film itself is 2.5 hours long. Is it 2.5 hours long? I think it's something like that. It was possibly half an hour at least too long. They could have shortened it a wee bit. But you know what, it's all we've got, and I did think they have had a bloody good crack at making these. It's interesting. I really enjoyed seeing a lot of the programmers. I mean, guys like oh Christ, what's the name of the guy? The guy that used to have the beard, John Gibson. he worked for Imagine, he had the beard, he was called Grandad when he was 30, and now, you see him now, he looks like Albert Steptoe, you know, he's absolutely ancient looking, but then that was 30 years ago, so what did I expect? But yeah, I did enjoy it. It wasn't, there was things I reckon could have been improved, but given it's the only thing that's available like that, it's certainly the best sort of historical story of the sort of British bedroom cottage industry in video games. So if you've not seen it, guys, go ahead and buy it. I think you can buy it for about 15 quid. You get a digital download, it's HD quality. You can download it as many times as you want. There's like SD quality as well, which you can download, and you can pay for the DVD as well. But to be honest with you, I would probably suggest you save your money, get the digital download, and that's it. It's not a film, it's not like Star Wars where you're going to watch it over and over again. It might be something I'll watch in a year's time sort of thing, but yeah, it was good. It was certainly, was it worth waiting for? Aye, it was. So yeah, that's that, Bedrooms to Billions. Very, two more things to go quickly. Our game's becoming too complicated. I'm not going to rabbit on about this too much. What's prompted this one is anybody who follows current machines, especially the PS4, there's a game, you know what, I've got an LCD game that I've put in that cupboard because there's an alarm goes off and it's the most annoying tune ever, and I can't figure out, other than taking the battery out of it, which I suppose I could actually do, I can't figure out how to turn the bloody alarm off. It seems to go off every half an hour, I think it is, so I've put the thing in that cupboard and you can still hear it. Yeah, my game has become too complicated. A game that I'm wanting in the PS4, which I was going to get for my birthday, is Drive Club. I've read reviews of it, and it's not getting particularly great reviews. Now apparently one of the biggest features for Drive Club is the online aspect. It is what it says in the name, Drive Club. Apparently you can link up with your friends, you and your friends can create a club, a Drive Club. So you and 5 mates can all meet at a particular place and drive and do whatever it is you do in the game. But apparently they're having no end of problems with servers and that kind of stuff, and apparently the CEO of Sony has come out and apologised for the delay and the problems caused. They were also going to offer a free version to, I think it was PlayStation Plus owners, so you can join in using a sort of trial version of the game, but apparently because the thing's gone tits up, they're not going to open out the free trial until they get it fixed. But yeah, it's that plus one of the guys on my forum, he's just bought, I can't remember what the hell it's called, Sunshine or Sunset something, it's on the Expo, and it's one big game that's coming out. He's just bought it, and he said that, excuse me, he didn't say excuse me, he said that he reckons he's getting too old for gaming. He says this game is just too complicated, and I tend to kind of favour that. I mean, are we starting, as we're progressing, are we really getting, do people want too much? What's wrong with Galaxian? You know, you fire it up, one fire button, joystick, you know where you're going with it, sort of thing. But as people are demanding more and more and more and more and more, you can see there, you can no longer, you know, we've got problems with Drive Club. You know, you're buying a game and you can't get to do what you want because of technical difficulties, online aspects. Games are just becoming too complex for my liking. Don't get me wrong, when things like that work, they're bloody awesome. But I sometimes wonder if games are they're going too far up their own backside, if that's the right word to use. It's probably not. But maybe it's just because I'm an old fart. I like simple games, simple instructions, none of this online bullshit. I got me thinking, Xbox 360, I've got a shitload of live games which I have bought and they're on the machine. If 10 years down the line Xbox 360 connectivity is no longer, which I'm guessing it probably will be or won't be, if that's the right word to say, if my Xbox falls over and dies and I buy another Xbox, I have got no way of getting these games back again. So I'm potentially going to lose a shitload of games. But I suppose when Microsoft and Sony make these consoles, they're not thinking about how they can provide a service to somebody 10 years after they bought the console. You know, it just happens that we can play the Spectrum and the Commodore 64 30 years on. But yeah, I think that current consoles, they're not going to have a lot of resale value, I wouldn't think, especially if it sort of relies on the online aspect. So yeah, our game's becoming too complex with online stuff. I don't know, I mean, I see a new feature in the PS4 that apparently allows one of your friends who doesn't own a game to go online and take over the game. They can effectively play your game on their own Xbox, own PS4, even though they don't own the game. They can play it for an hour. It's called Help Me. So basically, you get stuck in a level, you can phone your pal up. Can you have a shot at this level, and he can try and complete it for you. I mean, it's mental, the things they're coming out with. Some of them you've got to question what is really the point of it. But I suppose, again, that's me just being an old fart. The fact that, you know, you can do these things is pretty cool. The very last thing, guys, and I promise this is the last thing. It's a shout out. I've only done one of these so far. It's a shout out. Now, I feel a bit embarrassed doing this because I've got 220 subscribers. This guy has got, I don't know, 1200. I mean, he's fucking massive. He's a lot bigger than myself. But the reason I'm shouting him out is because he's absolutely awesome. I've got a lot of favourite YouTubers, but this guy has got a special place in my heart, and he is Vectrex Rolly. If you haven't heard of him, go and check him out. Vectrex Rolly, or Roland, his real name's Roland. He's Austrian. He's massive on the Vectrex, Virtual Boy, Vectrex, Virtual Boy. He likes really old systems, video packs, really ancient systems. He's got a fantastic knowledge of these machines. But the thing that sets him apart, I mean, he does awesome videos showing you different cartridges and that kind of stuff. But what sets him apart from any other YouTuber that I've seen is he ropes his wife in to intros. His wife, I mean, they're basically playing characters. She plays the part of the nagging wife. She's always catching him buying stuff off eBay. You know, when he's a chap at the door and the postman delivers a box, his wife will always catch him buying stuff. It's absolutely hilarious. I mean, I love his videos. He actually just made one today, a Halloween special. You've got to go and check it out. I mean, him and his wife, or Mrs. Rowley as she's called, they're comedy gold. They're absolutely brilliant. I mean, I hope, Roland, you don't take this the wrong way, but your accent, I mean, you've got great mastering of the English language, but your accent obviously isn't English, and it helps to add the hilarity factor of your videos. You know, it really adds to it, and I love your stuff, I really do. But if you haven't heard of him, guys, go and check him out. He's hugely entertaining, so I'm going to pop a link to his videos down below. But that's it, guys. I've prattled on for long enough. The battery's probably going to run out, and probably I'm going to get to the 2 gig limit again. So anyway, that's another Friday Waffle. Hope you've enjoyed it, guys. Tomorrow I'm up early. I'm off to run an ultra up in Killin in Scotland, 33 miles. I haven't ran for 3 weeks, so it's going to be fun. I need to get up there. I need to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning. So yeah, that's going to be fun. But as usual, guys, I says, I appreciate you watching it. Please leave comments. If you like the video, please like it. And if you want to see more videos from myself, please hit subscribe. Hope you have if you're watching this on Friday, I hope you've had a fantastic, or you're going to have a great weekend. If you're watching it on Saturday, hope you're having a great weekend. And if you're watching it next week, hope you had a fantastic weekend. And as usual, guys, thanks for watching.